Hello. So I got our optional Z0 option done for our engraving program for working with pockets and webs or bosses. So we'll go over that now. In this document, you can see on the screen, you can see we have a Z0. This is where the Z0 plane in relationship to the work offset 0 is. This is useful for the pockets and the bosses. This will be the absolute floor of the feature. So if you look over here in our example, we have Z0 is the floor of our pocket is at a negative 220. If we look at our little helpful chart here, we can see the bottom of our pocket, our Z0, is right here. So that's what that is. Then we have our clearance. So this is where the tool will wrap to when turning on the tool length comp. This is also where the program will retract to when the engraving is done. This is in relationship to the work offset 0. So here's our Z clearance. In our example here, we have it at 1 inch. So that's why we're above our work offset 0. Our next option is our Z retract. This is the Z depth that the engraving program will start at. Also, while engraving, this is where the program will retract to when moving between characters. Think of this as the R value in a drilling cycle. This was created and based off of the G180 or G81 drilling cycle. It's very similar to it, except for it's in our engraving program. And it's not a can cycle built into FANUC. So as you can see, here's our retract. In our example, we have it set at 10 thou. This is usually 10 thou. It can be 20. It can be whatever you feel safe and comfortable at. But that's above our Z0. And then our engraving. So we have our engraving depth, which would be down here into our material. So as you can see here in the diagram, we depict which of these moves are going to be rapid moves and which ones are going to be feed rated moves. And here's our key. Rapid move will be a dashed line. So basically, usually you'll start out at G28, G91, Z0, or G53, Z0. So we'll be up here at Z0. We're going to wrap it to our clearance plane. Then we're going to turn on our tool length comp. We're going to wrap it to our retract here. And from our retract, we're going to do a feed rated plunge and start our engraving. After each character is engraved, it will wrap it back up to our Z retract plane. When it starts a new character, it will feed rate plunge back into our material here until we finish all the engraving of that subsection. And then we'll wrap it back up to our Z clearance plane. Basically how it works. We'll show you now in NC plot how it actually really works. So here's our NC plot. We're going to do 2 engravings here. You can see I have the options here put in. Let's go ahead and pull up veritable screen here. We're going to go ahead and we'll run this now. We'll do this first engraving. For those of you that don't really know NC plot that good, NC plot does have an optional stop feature that you can use. It's called a break. So we can add this into our program, the parenthesis break within parentheses, and use this button here. You can see there it says run to break. So it'll run to here and stop. So then we can actually, what that's useful for is then we can single block through our thing. Let's get our grid set right here. So we'll single block through here. This is moving to our start position our engraving in the X and the Y. Here we're going to turn our tool length comp on. And then we are going to start our engraving. This first one is an A. So we're going to move to the start point of our A. And then we are going to come down to our retract position. And then we're going to go to our final depth of the engraving, which was feed rated plunge. And you can see that right there, feed rated here. This is all rapid. And what we're going to do is we're going to let this engraving portion run. We can see here if it did our engraving, and when it was done engraving, it rapid back up. It rapid backed up our clearance plane. We can see it's at 1 inch here. So I have another engraving here. We'll go ahead and we'll run this. This one was treated like a boss. So we're above our Z0. And our engraving's up here. So we'll take a quick look at our engraving of what we did engrave. We'll go to top view. You can see we just put an A with some random letters there, or numbers. And then over here we have our date. We'll go ahead and go back to our front view. And we'll interrogate these. So here's our retract. We'll close this window for now. So we know our Z0 plane is 220. We know our retract is 10 thou. So our retract should actually be at Z 210, right? So you can see our retract line is at 210. And then we're doing a 50 thou deep engraving. So Z0 is set at 220, so 50 and 220 should be 270. We click here. You can see we're at 270 right there. So I did that first letter, which was an A, and then I retract during the engraving of the letter for the crossover and the A, and then I engraved that, and then when it was done, it did a retract and then moved over to the next number. It was a number, it was 0. Did the 0, then it retracted back up. And then over here, we did our boss. And our boss, we told it we were a positive 200. So the floor of our engraving is at 200. Our retract is 10. That should put us at 210. Right here is for the top. This is our retract. And then the depth of our engraving was 30 thou. So 230 is 230. That should give us our 200 minus 30 is 170. So that gave us our 170 right there. Can you use this in any subsection? Let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.